Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mortal Kombat movie 2021 edition of the podcast. Get over here, listen to us, please. I'm your co-host, M2 Dave. I'm here with my co-hosts Rio and Zyfox. Unfortunately, Tom, Crimson are not able to join us. If they do join, they'll join us later. Or if not, they're going to join us on the next podcast. So we apologize about that. But we just wanted to give you a quick 45 minutes to an hour initial reaction. I just saw the movie 10 minutes ago. I have a lot to say. I'm sure as do my co-host Rio and Zyfox. So thank you so much for listening. The movie, I believe, just came out a couple of days ago, if not literally just a day ago. So I have a lot to say. Guys, just let me know what you think. People are very passionate. It seems like they have like a lot of positive and some negative opinions. Rio, give me your overall picture. What did you think of the movie? Please let us know.
All right, all right. So this movie, I have not been this disappointed since MKX was coming out and coming in from MK9 months before MKX came out. That level of disappointment once I got to play MKX has been beaten by the hype I had waiting for this movie to come out. I expected so much from it, so much going into the movie, and it had so much potential. And there were things I liked, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's the worst movie ever. I think it's better than Mortal Kombat Annihilation for sure. I do think the first MK film was better than this one, but there was so much that could have been done right about this movie and missed opportunities that when I got halfway into it, it started hurting when I started realizing like, wow, there's so much that's just getting missed out on, and they're not going in the path that I thought that they would be going to make this movie amazing. I want to wait to get into the specific details because I want to hear both of your guys' quick thoughts.
Zyfox, go ahead, please.
I wanted to come out here and defend this movie so bad. I wanted to come out here and say, you know what, guys? I think you guys are being a little too harsh. The movie was fun. The fatalities were cool. The fan service was amazing. All that stuff. But I can't bring myself to really feel that way. Because in all reality, while I enjoyed watching the movie for what it was, I recognize that the flaws outweigh the fun when I sit back and really take it in. I'm like, they could have done so much better, to be honest. But with that said, I think I probably like the film more than you guys do. I will say that.
I think, and I could be wrong, and I apologize. I haven't read like the initial reviews too much. I've just kind of briefly glanced over them, and for me, I think the fan service of this movie is top notch. But in some sense, and I hope you guys can relate to what I'm saying. Perhaps you can sympathize with me. It kind of feels like watching Dragon Ball Super, if you know what I'm talking about, from a couple of years ago. The fan service is just amazing, but the story literally makes no sense. It just doesn't make any sense. Did you guys get the same feeling, Rio? Because I know you were, also an old school Dragon Ball fan. Not to make any specific comparisons, because we want to talk about the movie, but did you kind of get the same feeling, or was it just me?
I mean, some of the fan service was traumatizing. Like, where do I begin? So, I'm gonna give you guys my opinion on what I thought were the top 3 worst characters in this film. And in my opinion, the worst character, far and beyond, from this film was Rico. The second worst character was Cole. The third worst character was Natara. You guys agree with that? How do you guys feel?
I didn't even know that was Rico until somebody mentioned it after the movie.
I was praying that wasn't Rico, and then when I heard the name, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, dude, holy crap! The fact that Rico was worse than Cole, I'm just trying to understand. Did the people who went for Rico's design in this game not play any of the Mortal Kombat games with him in it, or were they given the wrong information? I'm really trying to to figure out what went wrong because this dude
Listen.
looked like a crack house survivor.
Listen,
He had yellow meth mouth.
can I?
He was looking like the sloth from Goonies. How is that Rico?
I want to come to the defense of the movie just for 1 second. I
Go
noticed how in what you just said, Rio, you said game instead of movie. When you like, how can this game? You really defaulted right back to the game. I will say,
Did I do that? I guess I did that by instinct.
yeah, you did. But that just goes to show you that we're trying to like equivalate. Is that even a word?
Yes, yes. It is.
We're trying to equivalate the game story with and what we know with this new story, and it's just we're gonna clash at all times. Like the Arcana, what the fuck is that? What is that?
No, Zeph, I get what you're saying, but there's no excuse for what Rico was. I'm
You're
sorry.
good. You're damn right. There is no.
Like, there's no he didn't even have the black face paint on.
Listen, dude. What would have been great if they could just
Like,
like-
I kind of get what they were trying to go for. They were going for this big, mindless, hulking giant, which was what Rico
Listen.
never was. I guess because they're trying to make him imitate Shao Kahn, but that's not what Rico does. That's not what he is, you know?
Yeah. And what I was gonna say is that their attempt was just lackluster. That what they could have done was instead of trying to give like a filler character, like they kind of used Natara and Reiko as like fatality filler characters, and they should have just added more goons. Because you know Shang Tsung has a lot of goons, man. They could have sent all types of creatures and other world things for us to like show off the characters' moves, like you know. But instead, they were doing it on each other, and a lot of them are deadly ass moves. Didn't make sense. Like for example, you getting cut by fucking Kung Lao's hat, and you're not getting affected. No, give him a bunch of fucking people to slice up. That would have been cool, but they didn't do that.
It's just like it's very like you said. They could have just made new characters, just filler characters to get bodied, right? But to do Rico like that, to do Natara like that, Natara didn't even say a word in the movie, and she looked nothing like how she does in the movie. In the games.
That was
Like,
gnarly how she went out though.
What was the point of even bringing her back just to kill her? It was like they wanted her done and over with, and they wanted to stick a middle finger at the few people that like Natara. Because I'm not sure if you guys know this, but Natara's actually a strong character from the lore. Like she's she's a really powerful character, and to see her as this crappy minion that just didn't even know how to fight was just I was shocked, dude. See a character like that just be seen as such garbage.
Well, aside from the specific character, which by the way we'll get more into in a moment here, what did you guys think of the concept of? I forgot what they called it in the movie because guys, I literally just watched it like 30 minutes ago about the insignia. I mean, like the sign of like the gives.
Yeah, the tattoo in Arcana.
Yeah. Did you guys like that or not? I thought that was good. Like,
Hell no.
I thought it was an
Hell no.
Hold on a minute.
It was horrible.
I thought it was an interesting concept, like for a modern Mortal Kombat movie. Why did you not like it?
The reason why I didn't like it was because Arcana and the whole tattoo thing, that could be a good idea for some characters, but forcefully putting it that every character has to abide by this rule and then making every character get it. Like, for example, Kano, his Arcana was getting the I-beam when he should be getting that through technology, and his Arcana, if anything, should have been him turning into like a cannonball. Something like that. So for some character, and don't get me started on Jax's Arcana. I almost threw up. I almost vomited everywhere. When I saw him have those twigs and sticks, whatever those things were, when he was punching that thing, it made me sick to my stomach. I was like, what am I looking at? What did they do to Jax? His Arcana was to grow real arm? Like, come on. Like, let's think about this.
That was absurd.
How does that make any sense to
absurd.
what Jax is supposed to be? Special Forces technology. Sonya's over here looking like Serena, doing nothing but throwing blades, knives at you. She has no technology. She lives in the rundown trailer park. Like, what is going on here?
Well, but hold on a minute. I think we cannot expect the movies to be just like the games in certain aspects. That's just the way it is. And I'm
not expecting the game to be like 100% as the game, but I want characters to be a little bit more similar from the movie as how they were as to how they were in the game, you know?
Well, I mean, let me just say this because I think this is what a lot of the superhero movies, to some extent, that I've seen, from my years, they kind of run into the problem that kind of this movie did. Is you're trying to cram too much information in one single movie. I mean, if you look at like Avengers, it's a movie with lots of like information, not necessarily in the movie, but like in the all other movies that kind of all comes together. This movie is trying to like, dude, you have a guy who shows up literally like in a diner, starts throwing like uh, snow at everybody, for God's sake, like ice at everybody, right? And you're like, what is going on? Like, why wouldn't the surrounding people be like, what the hell is going on? It's summer yet it's snowing. Like, you have to end like, yeah, just like another day, just another Tuesday, in the city. It just doesn't seem real to me.
Look,
It comes across as fake.
look, there were some good things about the movie. Like for example, I know I talked about the top three worst characters in the movie, but I want to talk about the actual good characters in the movie. The top three characters, in my opinion, I liked Scorpion, I liked Sub Zero, I liked Kano.
Kano, yeah.
They all did a good job. They were all good. Even Reptile. I don't know about you guys, but the Reptile scene in that movie was one of my favorite fight scenes. It was action packed. He was using his abilities. He was using his tongue move, his acid invisibility. That to me was sick. I wish the movie had more of that. More of the characters just fighting, using their abilities, and less of this trying to, explain why Cole is there and what the purpose of him is. Like that character to me was just so uninteresting to want to know about. I wanted Liu Kang. I wanted these other characters that are very interesting to get more screen time. But sadly, a lot of them, like you said, there was so much wasted potential. A lot of them just didn't get the screen time that they deserved. Like Melina was there to do what? They were so underutilized. All these characters that were underutilized like crazy.
But that's what I mean, Rio. It's difficult to fit all the lore into a movie that's really like an hour and 20, 30 minutes. Like it's very, very difficult to get all
Well, you
the.
know what? Maybe if they spent half of the movie not focusing on this Cole character and his family, which no one gives a shit about.
I understand, but he is the protagonist. Like he has to be talked about. Well, again, we could talk about how his character development. And honestly, guys, because I didn't want to talk about this like movie in the first place, not because it's not worth talking about, just because I don't know enough about. I'm not a movie producer. My expertise is talking and criticizing the game. I'm not some guy who understands this movie in depth and the way they should be made. We can all just kind of give our opinions and say, okay, this is probably what it should be. But the point is this. You have a movie that's an hour and 20, 30 minutes, whatever. And you have to develop the main character. That's just reality of any, whether it's literature or book. And they probably did it very, very wrong. And I agree that they did, but there just isn't enough time. Life Facts, what do you think?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna go over. Um, they had to change the script to basically fit a movie, like, and not basically a game's like size of content. So, within cutting corners, they thought that they'd, introduce a protagonist with some type of backstory that he was like the lineage of Hanzo. So, I think they could have definitely went a different route. They could have followed the original plan of Mortal Kombat with like the first movie, the first game, the first like MK9. To give a backstory of each of the tournament fighters and how they got to the island or whatever. Then show them actually going through the tournament. Go through and actually go like who actually wins these fights, and then whoever actually gets fatality gets fatality. Like they could have just followed the storyline that we've been going through, and they could have done that. Yeah, fine, and you would have been more happy, right? Or they could have tried something else, and this is what they did. So I don't know if you can really blame them for that. They had to make a choice whether they're going to do the tried and true formula, do it all the time. We've been there, done that, or do something new. And this is what they
Look, I'm not even putting any of the blame on the actors. I think the actors were actually pretty fine, because they're only being told what to do, or you can't. It's not an actor's fault if a fight's cut a certain way or they're forced to say a certain line. It just isn't, like it's not good. I would personally say the actors of this movie, they weren't really the issue. I think the issue was the direction and what was like forced to be, like the whole how the story unfolded and everything. How characters getting their abilities, the whole arcana. And I feel like we need to talk about more specific characters because I do want to. I think we should talk about every
will, but
character.
let me just have Zyfox. Do you acknowledge that like Kano was one of? I mean, I think Kano was definitely top notch. Like he's literally what you expect Kano to be. He's spitting, he's drinking beer, he's nasty, he's disgusting. He's a he's a
Douchebag.
he's a douchebag. He's a backstabber. Can you all agree that he was awesome,
Yeah.
Zyfox?
Him, Sub-Zero, and
Yeah.
Scorpion top 3. They were on point.
Yeah, I really loved Kano. His just the witty banter that he had, and I'm like, dude, can you imagine him and Johnny Cage? Like that's gonna be so. If I mean, he did die in this movie, right?
Yeah.
So shit. I mean,
Well, I mean, that's some stuff I want to talk about later, actually.
Well, and also by the way, Sub-Zero, like that, no pun intended, like cold-blooded killer. He hates, he hates Scorpion. He hates his clan. Shirai Ryu, and it was. I think it was very well done, and the same thing with Scorpion. You look at like the initial scene with Scorpion. He loves his wife. He's got a very young daughter, and he's like kind of trying to protect her. I think they're trying to like create a symmetry between the original Hanzo and and Cole, right? They're trying to like create like an image, and I think they did a good job with that. And I think that's the reason why, obviously, the initial Scorpion, wasn't a good character design, whereas Cole is like, wait, this is just like a random guy who makes money fighting underground. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, it seemed kind of weird. So I do agree.
Yeah, I mean, the beginning Scorpion and Sub-Zero scene, I thought that was like probably the best scene of the entire movie. Was the beginning. Aside from that, other scenes I really liked
Go ahead.
were the Jax for Sub-Zero fight. I thought that was a very good scene. I just liked the action in that. Like I mentioned earlier, I thought the Reptile versus Sonya, Kano, Cole 1v3. I thought, dude, they made Reptile look pretty damn strong. Like I was like, oh crap, when he was running around invisible, making all that noise, it was cool. And there's also a little thing because I've seen the movie multiple times already. I've seen it like 3 times already. But if you watch the scene where Cole is finding Sonya and he gets to the trailer park or whatever, if you listen very carefully, you can actually hear footsteps of him being followed, and little details like that I think were really awesome. So I liked the Reptile, the whole fighting scene area. Another scene I liked was you guys remember the dinner scene where they're all getting into it? Kung Lao's like yelling at Kano, they're all fighting. I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, there were some scenes I really enjoyed. I just wish there was more of that because those scenes and stuff like that were really fun to watch.
Well, that's actually it's so far unbelievable to me. I thought I was going to be the biggest critic, which is the reason why I wasn't going to do this podcast in the first place. But tell me, like, give me, like, okay, you talked about the 3 characters, that kind of impressed you. Before we get into more characters, tell me the 3 things you hated most about the movie, Rio.
Well, the 3 things I disliked the most, like I said, it was the characters. The 3 things I didn't like the most was Rico by far, then Cole, then Natara. But aside from that, I didn't really enjoy the music or the score. I'd say it was I was expecting a lot more in the whole music. There wasn't enough Sub-Zero and Scorpion in my opinion. More so Scorpion. Like he was just in the beginning and the end of the movie. I thought there would be way more Scorpion. I didn't like some of the forced video game dialogue. Like when Liu Kang fatalities Cabal and he forcefully says fatality. Like some of them were just a little bit like I get why Kung Lao said it because his was a flawless victory and he's a cocky person. That made sense, but some of it was a little like, do they really have to say that? I didn't like the whole MK tattoo idea and like how it transfers from death, and then like Jax gets it from killing whatever unit he was doing that Sonya described, and then Sonya gets it from killing Kano. I'm not a fan of the Arcana thing. I really do not like Cole at all. I'm so pissed that for whatever reason, his family survived at the end when they were frozen by Sub-Zero. But Hanzo's family, like, what is this? Like, why does everything have to be perfect for him? Like, why? And then to top it all off, they have Cole kill Goro? Holy crap, Goro. They treated him like crap in this movie. Like, he appears in a shed. He fights in a shed. He loses. He gets looked at as a joke, and I don't know, man. Like seeing characters like that just gets destroyed by this Cole character just was not fun to watch.
Zyfox, what do you think? I gotta tell you, I definitely agree with with the Cole.
It's Prince Goro, man, and he's
I know
a
he was
jobber.
treated like a scrub, like he's just a random scrub.
Like
Okay.
that honestly made me so annoyed to see Goro fall like that.
So the three things that I did dislike the most about the movie.
Go ahead.
Well, I disliked that Kung Lao died by Shang Tsung. Like in that, like he basically is already dead. Like from the jump. I didn't like that. You know, unless we're gonna start doing time travel, you know, or resurrecting people later on. Kung Lao was kind of a waste. And just like the theme with like the rest of the movie, a lot of the characters there were like fan favorites, like Melina. Sorry, they were like wasted, you know. So I feel like that aspect I didn't really care for, which is why I think they should have included. Another aspect I didn't like is they didn't include enough cool shit for the characters to do, like violent wise, against another, because they didn't have the filler characters. Can you imagine if you would have had like just, you know, those NPC type characters that you could just like do fun shit with, and you're literally teleporting like through people as Kung Lao, doing like a hat spin and actually like slicing people and into bits, like nothing that would have been so cool to see. But you know, I don't know if it was COVID or if they were rushed. That definitely would have been something that would have elevated this movie in the coolness department. Another thing I didn't like, didn't really care for the story with Cole Young. I mean, it was just why did they have to go that route? If anything, make him like a champion. Don't make him someone who's like a has been, and then he had to like overcome it to become like. No, bro. He actually had Hanzo blood in him. He should have been raw from the get go, like straight up. But and then he beats Goro. Same stuff that Rio was saying, honestly.
Yeah, the Kung Lao thing. It was sad to see a character like that go to waste. Because Kung Lao, I mean, I liked how he was smug and arrogant and fit his character. And dude, he shouldn't have been the one that died to Shang at least that quickly. You know who should have been the person that got their soul sucked right there? Should have been Cole. He should have died right there, and that would have been a movie 10 times better right there. But to kill Kung Lao, come on. I mean, really? Over Cole?
Well, the contrast, at least to the original movie, is that Liu Kang in the original Mortal Kombat movie, that was your protagonist. That was your main, that was your main guy. In this movie, Hanzo, whatever you want to call him, Scorpion, the Bloodline, he's your main guy. So that alone is a sharp contrast.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't blame the producers going to that direction, because to me, the two most recognizable characters are Scorpion and Sub-Zero. And I think, maybe we will disagree, but I think that's where the movie needs to be given credit, because ultimately the movie is really about that rivalry, right? It's about Scorpion, fire, against Sub-Zero, ice, and cold. Like, that's really what the movie is about. And it kind of, the rest is kind of just fluff, right? Just kind of, it tells you about the Mortal Kombat, tells you about the characters. But really, the movie is about their rivalry and how it, comes back. Again, it's the when you guys watch the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's about the symmetry between Hanzo and Cole, and the way Bihan fights them. That's really what the movie is about. And I thought it was well done, in my personal opinion. But
Look,
obviously, go ahead.
since we're talking about Sub-Zero, I just want to say, was it only me? Because a lot of times, when I was looking at him on the screen, I'm like, why is his ninja costume not blue enough? Sometimes I'm like, is that smoke? Because I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I'm like, is this still Sub-Zero or is that smoke now?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't blue enough.
Yeah, I gotta say this. I think, like, literally, like maybe like the third or fourth scene, right after the Hanzo scene, where he gets killed by Sub-Zero, and I think then you have Sub-Zero literally walk up to Shang Tsung, and I'm like, who is that person? Is that Rain? Like, is that like I literally didn't know.
Yeah, I'm like, that guy's not blue, he's gray. Is that, maybe it's smoke? I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
How do you guys also feel about Sub-Zero being like over 400 years old in this movie? What do you think about that?
Well, I think that goes back to the storyline literally not making any sense. So you have him who's alive. Scorpion is somewhere like in the nether realm. But I thought, you know, well, I guess Raiden. So the way Cole came to be is that Raiden saved Hanzo's daughter, right? Am I getting this right?
Yes.
And that's, I guess,
Cole is basically what Kung Lao is to the Great Kung Lao. He's one of his great descendants.
but how is Scorpion in the nether realm and why?
Well, they don't really explain that.
Well, I know
But
it's just kind of. It seems like yeah, they never really explained that.
so the thing about Sub-Zero is he's like hundreds and hundreds of years old, and what's interesting is, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't know, because in almost every Mortal Kombat game, they usually mention Sub-Zero being like 30, whatever, right? They never say he's hundreds and hundreds of years old. Maybe it's because he's a cryomancer and they age slowly, but in the games that's never really been hinted. So, and they don't even mention that in the movie. I guess so they just want you to assume this. I don't know. Just to me, it was odd how they didn't mention it at all. Like it was just completely ignored.
Yeah, the initial scene, and again, I might be wrong about the year, was like 16, 14 or something like that. Like, it was really, really early. Like it was like in the 16th, 17th century or whatever. And then it fast forwards, it's the same Sub-Zero is literally in the present. So
Who hasn't aged at
yeah,
all.
yeah.
Like maybe Shang Tsung gave him some of his I don't know,
Yeah.
soul or
Well,
whatever
it's like
to make him live
it's
longer.
like the Netherland thing with Scorpion. It's never explained why it's the same person, the same cryomancer. It's never been explained in the movie, as far as from my interpretation.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked a lot about Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and we pretty much covered Rico, Natara, and Cole. What about some other? What do you guys think about Raiden? In my opinion, I thought Raiden was a little too short. He's supposed to be like 7 feet tall. Like Liu Kang was taller than him. And not to be offensive here or anything, but I sometimes I couldn't understand what he was saying. I felt like I needed subtitles. His accent was so thick.
The accent was thick, but I do appreciate a different take on the character, if you will, not just Americanized. Because a lot of these characters, like, they're not supposed to understand each other. Like, because one of them speaks Chinese. I think it's Hanzo. Might be wrong, guys. I apologize if I'm wrong. One that speaks Japanese, which I think it
Sub-Zero is Chinese.
Yeah.
Chinese Ninja
yeah
Warrior.
Chinese, and then Hanzo speaks Chinese, and then
Oh,
Raiden
Hanzo speaks Japanese.
Japanese. Actually, I just want to get that. So who
Well,
speaks Japanese?
Raiden's Elder God. He can speak any language pretty much.
he's multilingual.
You
Right?
have to remember, Raiden's been alive for thousands and thousands of years. I'm sure he knows how to speak multiple languages.
No, but he's
But,
I understand. Like the thick accent, I agree with you. I kind of like.
No, I'm not even getting at the accent. I don't even care if he had an accent. I just felt like sometimes it was hard to say
No, I agree with you.
hear
I
exactly
agree
what he said. Yeah, I don't care if he had an accent or not. But aside from like his height thing, him being like shorter than Liu Kang and stuff because he's supposed to be this towering giant, he seemed a little bit too much like an asshole. I kind of liked how he kept it real though and let others know that it was no joking manner. But to me, it was a little tad bit out of character for him because to me this version of Raiden actually reminded me of Dark Raiden. Do you guys remember the Dark Raiden from some of the games? It reminded me a little bit of Dark Raiden, so I thought that was cool. But aside from that, not really much complaints about Raiden.
Well, he did say, I'm sorry when Kung Lao, got his soul sucked by, and Liu Kang was like, oh my god, he went on his knees, he took the hat with him, and he's like, and then Raiden was like, I'm very sorry for your loss, but we gotta fight, we gotta move on. So there's some humanity there for sure. But then again, he's supposed to be a god, he's not human. So I thought the character kind of fit well, in my personal opinion.
What about Jax? For me, I like I said earlier, I did not like how instead of the special forces technology repairing and souping up his arms to what they are in the games, you had these monks put them together with some twigs and dirt into this embarrassingly bad whatever the hell. I don't even know what to call those things. They weren't arms though. They were like, I don't know. They were like sticks.
Yeah, it was like a primitive technology that they were trying to fix his, obviously, because he's got his hands frozen by Sub-Zero in the fight before that. I don't know, Ria. Again, to me, like, if you're gonna dig into the details, like, I'm pretty sure you can find all kinds of stuff that's wrong with the movie, and I agree with you 100%. But I just liked the way, in maybe a little bit too passionate. Maybe I'm being, Dragon Ball Super Ask or Dragon Ball Z. I like when people get that power. Like, Cole looks at his family, he's about to lose. Oh my God, I'm gonna lose my family. Then he just powers up, beats the shit out of it. I just love that. I love that because it reminds me of Dragon Ball. It reminds me of, because that's to me, like, I've read reviews. Okay, he's not relatable. That is relatable. You care about your family. You don't want your daughter, to die. This guy, Goro's gonna come out the freaking shit. He's gonna punch them, right? It's like, dude, he powers up and he gives them a beating. Again, it doesn't necessarily make sense storyline wise, but I do like that there's a story. It's relatable, in my personal opinion. Zyfox, what do you think?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite aspects of shonen anime in general, and it's just something that, like, just in real life, people wish that they can do. Come up with the miracle last second play in athletics, or like in fighting games, or like to save a life. So that's where the drama comes in, and to me, in my personal opinion, that drama kind of falls flat because I didn't like his powers. Like, I didn't care what is that. What is it that he has?
His special ability is to form a sweater. Not even joking.
That's true.
That if it was cool, if it was some cool shit, bro, like, I would be so down for that. Like,
Yeah, so here's the thing about Cole, because I'm actually getting tired of talking about Cole, and I hope after this little segment we just stop talking about the character. But, like, his abilities to form the sweater made out of some mystic material. So, and what this is telling me is that, okay, I guess it's his ability is to cover his garbage defense, because usually when you see him fighting, he doesn't know how to block or do anything. So he covers his biggest weakness, which is getting hit a lot. And then his other ability is he can form weapons like Striker's Tonfa, which is what he uses to, like, chop off Goro's arms. But yeah, that character is just, like I said, I did not like the character at all.
I think the reason Ryu doesn't like the character is because when he actually gets that suit, he gets armor, and Ryu hates armor.
When he was killing Goro, I was actually dying low-key on the inside. Like, I felt like I was getting hit by that shit.
Ryu, I had to take the cheap shot, but I agree. Like, it's never been, again, it's like many nuances of the story. It's never been, elaborated upon. I thought like the weapons were lame because I always picture, again, Scorpion from the video games. I always picture Scorpion having a sword, which I think kind of fits him. But he, again, Cole didn't have that. Why does he have that weapons like Tanya? I just don't understand why. It seems kind of pointless. But but again, I agree with Zyfox. I like the fact that like he is powering up, like he sees his family in danger, trying to save them. He goes crazy. That to me is relatable because obviously you care about your family, you care about your your friends, etc., etc. I think that kind of makes sense.
Can I rant about Sonya?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
all right, yeah, and after that, I was gonna say, we should talk about what we liked about the movie.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Rhea.
Yeah, so my thing with Sonya is the thing that stuck out to me was she did not hate Kano enough. Like, it's weird to, if you go through the games, to envision Sonya and Kano being in a vicinity anywhere near each other because they would instantly try to kill each other. But, like, dude, Sonya wanted to hire Kano to work with her? Why would Sonya ever do this? The real Sonya would have known that Kano would end up backstabbing her and would, like, you can't trust Kano. And what happens in the movie? Shocker, Kano does it. Like, how did Sonya not see that coming?
And it's also,
to me, it felt like she wasn't taken serious in the film.
It's also
like okay, fine. She lived in a rundown trailer park, right? Whatever. That's kind of weird for this military special forces character. But she's not even using any special force weapons and gadgets. Her ability throughout the whole movie was to throw throwing knives. Is she Serena or Sonya? Because she threw a lot of throwing knives throughout the whole film. For the whole film. And do you guys remember that part when they were all supposed to train together for a tournament when they get to the Raiden's temple? And then they're all like, "Excuse me, Sonya, you can't train with us. You're not good enough. Like, this is for chosen warriors like Cole. Why don't you go sit in that corner?" To me, I was like, dude, what is this? Why are they treating Sonya Blade as this, like, shit jobber character?
Yeah, that was a.
And then she.
Yeah, let me just.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That Sonya was just.
Let me just say, because I do have to get that part of my chest. Yeah, that was a weird scene. It kind of like nowhere. Like, it just seems like weird when. And also, if you just go on based on that scene alone, why is Kano literally the first character to get his powers? Like he's
Dude, that's a whole nother thing I need to rant about.
like he's just
But
literally gets it out of arguing with Kung Lao and Liu Kang. While they're
over
having,
egg rolls.
yeah, it's like what?
I mean, I like that scene before that when they were just battling. When Kung Lao was really going at Kano, he was like, "You're useless. You're garbage." Liu Kang's talking all this crap. Like that was awesome to watch. That was so
I know,
funny.
but then literally like have like 2 minutes later, like dude is shooting eye laser out of his left eye.
Yeah, I just really quickly want to go back to
Yeah,
Sonya,
that's
but
fine.
like her Sonya's special arcana was to throw a ring projectile out of her arms. That to me is so weird because she's supposed to have technology to give her, the upper hand in fights, but now she's like a character with these abilities that can project energy, like Liu Kang, I guess. That to me is just odd. And I mean, here's another thing about Kano. Since we mentioned Kano, you know how Kano had the hole in his face? I mean, I'm sorry, he didn't have a hole in his face, right? Like he had like the claw from Reptile Mark. That was a missed opportunity because I felt like for Kano to get his cybernetic eye, where he actually gets his laser powers and all that, it could have been done one of two ways. You could have had Reptile during the fight bite, chomp his eye out or something, a portion of his face, and then they could have saved him, repaired him, and then he could have became Kano that we all know. Or you could have had Sonya redeem herself in the movie when when they fight in the desert and she kicks Kano's ass. Right there, she could have been like she could have just stabbed Kano in the eye or something, and then done. That would announce to everybody, the audience, like, wow, Sonya Blade is a serious character, and she just took Kano's eye, and then Kano gets cybernetic, like that. But they didn't do any of that. Like, this is what I mean by missed opportunities. They had so much things that they could have done in a certain direction to make a character prosper and become what they are that we see them as in the game.
No, good talking point. Zyfox, do you have anything else to add about Kano or Sonya as characters?
No.
I do want to say one last thing though.
Go ahead.
So if you guys noticed when Zyfox mentioned earlier, Kano's dead. So at the end of the film, Sonya stabs Kano in the eye with the gnome, right?
Yeah.
That right there could be alluding to how Kano gets his eye, and he'll be back for the sequel. If you think about it, like Shang, I don't know, recovers him somehow.
No, I agree. And again, I think just to like again, I'm going to talk about overall because I understand like the details, the nuances. There are many things wrong with the movie, and the storyline overall doesn't make any sense to me. But I thought the fan service was definitely there as far as
For some characters, there was fan
yeah,
service.
not true. Not maybe for Natara and Raiko. I think it was disastrous and it was almost embarrassing the way those characters got treated. And maybe Zyfox is right. I should
Yeah,
have used other goons. But before I finish, go ahead. Did you want to add anything?
yeah. I mean, I just feel like you guys want to just run down the quick few rest of the characters, then we'll go into the things that we enjoyed about the movie.
Yeah, go
The
ahead.
positive.
Go ahead.
All right, so who do we talk about? Melina. So Melina, in my opinion, she barely got to do anything. There just really wasn't enough about her. She looked good, in my opinion. It sucks how she was barely utilized at all. But what are your guys' thoughts on Melina?
I like the teleport. The teleporting was cool, but I thought like it looked too fun. Honestly, when she was teleporting, I was like, "Is this smoke coming on the screen? Like the smoke, the character?" It's like I thought the teleport could have looked a little bit better. I don't know. I don't know whether I was the only one.
It did kind of look like Nightcrawler teleporting, not really her traditional
I know,
underground
like
like
yeah, it's
teleport.
like what the hell is this? Like I thought, okay, is she gonna come down from the air anytime and do the dive kick? Like, but it never happened. Again, we're talking about nuances, but I feel like it's kind of an important detail because where's the dive kick? Like, where is the teleport kick? Like, I just didn't see it. I literally thought there was smoke. I'm like, what's the smoke? Like, again, I don't know whether it was
Yeah,
just
like
me.
I said, I didn't have an issue with Melina. I thought she was good for the most part. There just wasn't enough about her, and she really didn't do anything.
That's probably the time limit of the movie Rio because there's only so much time they can.
Yeah. What about you, Zavox? What are your thoughts on Melina?
Um, I think her overall design was pretty cool. The teleporting was alright, like okay, but she just suffered from this movie's overall plot, and she died. So it's like it was just a wasted opportunity because the story we're never gonna get the storyline of Katana is the princess of Outworld, and then she has a freaking twin sister Melina that's been worked on in the like that's just not gonna exist.
Actually, we actually may get that, Fox. You wanna know why?
Why?
Because they're probably gonna go with the lore of Melina has a bunch of twins, so
Oh, so that was
like a bunch of clones.
okay. That would be cool then. So then
Yeah,
like,
so that way this Melina got bodied, but there's more clones of Melina,
they
and
got, like, a
they
whole
could even be
army of
better.
them.
Like, yeah, exactly. They could use it. Like, for technically, they could do that and get away with it because it's been done in the game. So if they do that for the sequel,
Okay, fine.
people be like, okay, you know, like that's kind of true. Like Melina, that was kind of a thing.
Okay, fine. If that's the case, but until then, then no.
Well, I do like the fact that they didn't over sexualize her for like no absolute reason other than she's evil, so she must have big boobs and a big butt, like just for no reason, right? They like she's like this.
Wait, what does having big boobs and a big butt mean you're evil? What?
I know, but if you look at MK9, that's literally what the character is. Like why does she look like a porn star for absolutely no reason?
She looks. The reason why she has big boobs and a big butt in MK9 is because she's a clone of Katana, and Katana has big boobs and a big butt in MK9.
Okay,
that's why.
There's no way any assassin can literally look like that. Like, again, it's completely fake.
I mean, Dave.
Phony.
Some people are just born with big boobs and big butts.
Not
Is
like
evil.
that. I don't know anybody who looks like that. Not even female models. So I do
All
appreciate.
right. Well, anyway, I think we should move on. What about Liu Kang? What do you guys think about Liu Kang?
He uses his fires as candle.
Bro, when Liu Kang became a flashlight, I was like, oh shit, it's about to be good. No, but real talk, like Liu Kang for what he is, champion of Earthrealm, like the prodigy, like, dude, you better pray you're able to fight Liu Kang on one-on-one. There wasn't enough of him fighting.
I agree. He looked kind of a little
like
bit too
much
weak.
at all. He looked like kind of like almost like a side character, which is kind of scary. And I don't know about you guys, but I thought the bike scene was horrible. Like I thought when I saw that, I was the bike kick scene. I was like, that to me looked very off.
I mean, it's really hard to pull it off, in my opinion.
No, it is hard as hell. But I think if they couldn't pull it off really good, they should have just had him do a flying kick to kick Cabal inside that tar pit. Like it would have been just as good.
That seems like nitpicking. I think you need to focus more on like the.
You're right. Maybe I am nitpicking. Maybe a lot of people thought the bike kick was awesome. You could be right.
I thought it was okay. Like it's not,
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
It was alright. I think you need to focus on the character development. I agree with you to some extent. I thought that excuse me. I thought the character looked a bit too weak. I mean, this is a champion. Why is he struggling in some of these fights? Why is he struggling against Cabal? Why? I'm not sure.
Well, Cabal in theory is supposed to be strong, but yeah, Liu Kang of all characters should be able to handle Cabal.
Liu Kang,
dude. But hold on.
Go ahead.
We need to talk about Cabal.
Well, that's
since you just mentioned it.
That's on you, my friend. You get the floor on this one.
Bro, Cabal.
No, wait, I didn't even get
crap.
to talk about Liu Kang.
Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead, because he mentioned Cabal. Dude, Dave keep mentioning other characters, and it feels like we're transitioning to other characters.
We only have like 15 minutes left, so make it count. Go ahead.
All right, so I wasn't that disappointed in Liu Kang, to be honest with you. I mean, as far as like, I didn't think he was as like buff as he was until like that one scene where he was like showing off his muscles. I'm like, okay, dude, he looks like an actual like Bruce Lee clone. Like at that point, dude, he was like muscular, like ripped, like Bruce Lee would have been. So I actually was happy with his design at that point. So I'm like, okay, like that's if Mortal Kombat existed in real life in like today, it would have been Bruce Lee that would have been Liu Kang in real life. So, so that's why I'm like, okay, Liu Kang was actually pretty cool. He fucking used the actual dragon, like his freaking fatal blow, as like a fatality. That was pretty cool. Fire, he was actually like strong. I guess because he wasn't the main character or the main protagonist in this, he kind of took a step back. So he wasn't all flashy, or whatever. But I wasn't as critical as maybe you guys were about his design.
I mean, I thought Liu Kang was fine. I wasn't critical. I just felt like he wasn't fighting that much at all.
He wasn't.
Like he was like a side character almost.
Yeah. I don't think he should be losing to Cabal. The only character I feel like Liu Kang should be losing to is Shang Tsung. That's it. Right? Am I wrong?
Yeah. Like he's like supposed to.
Or someone like Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Goro. Like the top of the food chain character.
Like the top of the top. Like maybe Goro too. Like, but he should not be struggling against Cabal. I'm sorry. Like you should be beating him.
I mean, Liu Kang in our story from like the games, he's like, he's a 2-time, like he's a champ.
Bro, he's a champion of Earthrealm. You gotta put some respect on Liu Kang's name.
Like,
You know how many people Liu Kang has kicked their ass? Like, I don't think people understand how good Liu Kang is.
we should all know, especially after this game.
Well, the people who are just getting into Mortal Kombat watching that film are probably looking at Liu Kang going like, he's, I guess, pretty okay.
He's mid tier.
He's not as good as Cold though.
I would have liked to see some like Bruce Lee type of like choreograph, like fight scenes, like
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I wish there was more Liu Kang fighting, man. I think that person with Liu Kang could have done so much.
We have time for one more character. Who do you guys want to talk about?
Alright, dude, I gotta get this off my Cabal.
Yeah.
Cabal?
Yeah.
I just want to say he looked cool as hell. NRS, you better put that costume in MK11 next comic pack. But, dude, when Cabal started talking, dude, why does Cabal sound like my barber? He's like, yo, your boy come out getting his soul sucked, came in your ass. I'm like, what? Bro, where the hell is his raspy voice? Isn't Cabal supposed to be on life support, with the damaged iron lungs? Why does it even sound like he's wearing like a thick mask with a respirator? You know, like his MK9 voice. He sounds like Darth Vader. He's got that. Like if you close your eyes and listen to Cabal talking to him, you almost can't even tell he has a mask on. Like you hear very faint breathing in the background, but it's not enough to sell his voice like being heavily damaged. But dude, aside from Cabal's voice and some of his weird ass lines, it just to me was the character looked cool. But dude, that voice, I could not stop cracking up every time I heard him talk.
I agree with you 100%. I thought when I picture Cabal, I kind of imagine in my mind the legendary Darth Vader voice, and I'm like, why does he sound like he's some hip 20?
You late to the subway here in New York?
Like trying to be like some hip 20-year-old or something. Like I don't even know what I'm listening to. It just sounded like it didn't sound like what he should sound like when you picture Cabal in your mind, and I agree with you 100%.
Bro, I thought James MK was like cameo in Cabal for a second. But he looked cool as hell, though. What about your opinions, Fox?
I have the same opinion. I don't know. He had like a New York accent. It was kind of funny because is Cabal from New York in the actual storyline?
I mean, I don't know about New York if Earthrealm uses that state, but he's from like an area of the city like New York. So, yeah, I don't mind him having an accent. I just felt like his voice, it wasn't selling enough to be like in a mask, with him having iron lungs and all that.
Yeah, you're right.
Like it should have been more crazy damaged. Like when you hear him speak, you should instantly be able to hear like, yo, this guy's like in a mask where he sounds like Darth Vader or something,
Real quick, opinions on Shang Tsung.
Dude, Shang Tsung, his black eyes were throwing me off the whole entire time. I was like, what is wrong with his eyes?
Yeah.
And he didn't even fight, dude. All he did was soul suck Kung Lao, and that's it. Like he didn't even fight.
All he did was suck Kung Lao.
That's all he did. He didn't even fight. He looked cool, but he didn't really do anything.
But by the way, the eyes were also inconsistent. But they were. I could have sworn in one scene they looked like normal human eyes, and then the other times they were like this,
pitch black.
Pitch black. Yeah. Literally, you can't even. It's as though you're looking at the dark, Dark Knight type of eyes. So, but I agree. Maybe they're saving it for the sequel. Which makes sense to save for the sequel. But I thought it looked cool. Like, he's in charge. You feel like, okay, he's confident. He's the one calling the shots. This is the guy who's evil. He's the boss. I thought they did a good job with him.
Yeah.
Do you guys agree?
Yeah, it's just like the whole Melina and some other. He just wasn't utilized as much.
Well, I mean, it makes sense.
I was dying to see him throw hands with Liu Kang. Like, an epic-ass fight.
Well, too bad, bro. It's not about Liu Kang. It's about Cole, so. But again.
Yeah. Okay, so look, we have 10 minutes left. Why don't we give our closing thoughts on the movie about what we liked?
Good point.
And
good point.
Yeah. So, Zyfox, you want to go first?
All right. What I liked about the movie was all the fan service, like straight up every single like little cheesy fatality or flawless victory here, plus the special moves, the like Kung Lao teleporting, that was actually cool as hell. I'm not gonna lie. Like there was some cool stuff about this movie. The fatalities were cool. I wish there was more. I think that's the most disappointment. Just bear with me for a second because I know it was supposed to be positive. It's the fact that we seen so much cool stuff that we wanted more cool stuff to be seen, and we kind of got cheated because again with like the NPC henchman type characters that didn't exist that would have been cool test dummies on for next time though next movie. But anyways, I think that was a great aspect of the movie for sure. Another, I think, Kano was just such a highlight. Like his humor was actually he carried the movie. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like everybody's saying the same thing. He really did carry like the slow parts and the mid part of the movie. Like straight up and simple. So I'm done. You guys.
Rio, go ahead.
Kind of like I mentioned earlier, I liked Scorpion, liked Sub-Zero, liked Kano. I even liked Reptile. I'm probably the only person that liked the Reptile scene. I just thought it was awesome. I love pretty much. I love pretty much any scene where they're using their abilities and powers. I love the beginning intro with Scorpion Sub-Zero Dolor thing. I thought that was such a good intro for the movie.
The Ice Claw.
I like the Jax fight. Yeah, the Jax fight with Sub-Zero in the warehouse. I thought that was badass. I like the dinner table scene where they're all talking smack to each other. And yeah, I mean, there's quite a few things I liked.
Well, let me, if I may share my opinion, and we'll wrap it up. I just the one scene that I probably watched 3 or 4 times when Cole is fighting Sub-Zero, and then you have the original Hanzo show up, and then the Mortal Kombat music starts playing. As and he fucking throws a spear. I just thought that was awesome. Again, Zyphos was talking about fan service. That is literally the definition of fan service.
Mm-hmm.
So I really, really appreciated that. It just kind of it gave me goosebumps as a Mortal Kombat player. I was like, oh my god, this is awesome, right? Again, the movie has many, many issues that people are gonna dissect in the next month meticulously, right? But I just kind of enjoy it for what it is, and please. It's not just about the 3 of us. Please let us know what you think about. What do you?
Wait. Dave, we're not ending it. We have 8 minutes left.
Okay, go ahead.
Look, guys, sequel theories. Who do you guys think is gonna come back for the second film? My opinion, Johnny. You guys think Johnny's gonna come back?
Johnny Hunter, well, not come back. He is literally meant to be. That's his.
Yeah, he's in the poster at the end.
He's making his debut. Yeah, that's.
Okay, theory time. You ready? Kano comes back for the second film with a cybernetic eye because of Sonya. What do you guys think?
True. If it's not there, it's a disappointment.
Yeah.
Okay, theory time part 2. The reptile is going to be back in the second movie as a ninja form. You want to know why?
Debatable.
Because apparently,
debatable.
Because apparently, there's a theory of people saying that the reptile featured in this film wasn't Reptile. You know who it was?
Who?
It was Syzoth. You know who Syzoth is?
No.
That's Reptile's freaking name from the games. But because a lot of people don't know that, what they're gonna do is do this. They're gonna somehow pretend Syzoth isn't Reptile's name, and they're gonna treat Syzoth in this movie as a separate Reptile, and then they're gonna have Reptile in the second film, like the OG Reptile. And they could do that.
Wait,
I just feel like they're gonna spin and do that.
I gotta stop you right there. Psythought? What are you talking about? That's Reptile's name. He actually has like a first and last name.
Yeah, from his home world. They call him Syzoth.
I had no idea. All right.
Yeah.
Fine.
So that could be a theory, right? Like if they did that, it's gonna make a lot of people aren't gonna dig into it and be like, wait a minute, Syzoth is like they're gonna pretend Syzoth because if you listen carefully in the scene when Shang is talking to Melina with the army. He's like, send Syzoth, the lizard, to handle it. And then that's when, Syzoth goes there and then tracks Sonya down and attacks them. So what do you guys think about that theory?
I think the Johnny Cage theory, it's not a theory. We know Johnny Cage that's the next step. Like, it's heavily implied just in the movie itself.
No, but I'm saying, would you be surprised if they did this reptile thing for the second film?
Yeah, I would be, yes.
Okay. Next theory, Noob Saibot will be in the second film.
100% confirmed. If it's not there, that would be a huge disappointment.
All right.
Noob Saibot must be there. Yes, 100%.
Yeah. What about, I think Shao Kahn, Kotal Kahn, and Katana will be in the second film?
Yes. Going based off MK, just like the general MK storyline.
And like all the Athenians and stuff like that. How about Rain?
Rain must.
Yeah, Rain, Jade, Tanya. Yeah, you could.
Yeah, you bring in the Adenians to like develop more of
The
the
thing is,
story.
I don't want them to cram too many characters again because I don't want them to make the same mistake with this film where there's too many characters and it's like Jade has a 2 minute scene. Rain is here for 1 minute and then dies to whatever. You know, like I want them to kind of, yeah, like I just
Or
want them to
drowns.
focus on some characters. Yeah, exactly. Now, when Raiden says to the people in the movie, "I have a list of remaining Earthworm warriors you need to gather." Who do you guys think it's going to be from Earthworm? I think it's going to be obviously Johnny, Nightwolf, Striker, Sub-Zero, Kuai Liang, that Sub-Zero, probably Smoke maybe, and
There
I don't know
is
who else. Maybe Boraicho.
hold on a minute, hold on. There is a picture of actually Nightwolf, like a hand drawn sketch.
Yeah, Matoka.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if it's the actual Nightwolf, but it is actually shown as a descendant of a previous civilization, of a previous culture in the movie. Just so people are aware.
Yeah. Well, you know how Nightwolf is, right? Like you know what they did with MK11. They made it like a mantle now. It passes on for generations.
Yeah, so
So
yeah,
when
it
you're
could be like
Nightwolf,
that.
yeah, it passes on.
be
So
like
they could have a new person be
Yeah.
Nightwolf. You know.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
But who would you guys think of be the Earthworm warriors though between them?
I think Striker is a chance. Boraicho, there would be. He could be like the next banter character, like Zaffa keeps saying about Kano. I think that would be super funny.
Yeah.
You can make it like a drunk. You could make so many storylines with that. It would be hilarious just to explore. Um, but
Smoke could be a possibility because he's from Earthrealm.
yeah,
But yeah, dude, honestly, real quick, I just want to say, dude, like I said, I've seen this movie multiple times. I wanted so much from it. I had fun watching it. I don't regret watching it. I had fun watching it. I just wanted so much. What I hope comes out is like a Snyder cut of this film or something, dude, where we get like the juicy, big 4 hour version of the film where every character gets a thing. You get to see all this about Melina, all this about this character. You get to see all these extra. Like, I hope that happens in the future, man. I would love to see that.
well, on that note, we're gonna wrap it up here. Please, guys, let us know what you think. We're gonna consider your feedback very, very seriously. And on the next podcast, we hope to have Crimson and Tom Brady back. We're missing in action, obviously, this time. Please let us know what you think. And thank you so much for listening to this podcast, Mortal Kombat 2021 edition. If you haven't seen the movie, please check it out. And thank you so much for listening. See you soon.